I watch them all the time. I think I watched Indiana State and Iowa, Caitlin Clark play about the same last year. So I've watched a lot of basketball.
Like, can we get Caitlin Clark a little protection out there?
Anybody that does something flagrant to this young lady for what she's brought to the game should be suspended and fined big.
What happens when one of the greatest basketball legends of all time witnesses the WNBA's brightest young star being targeted by controversial physical play? You're about to find out. The basketball world has been shaken by Larry Bird's strong reaction to the incident involving Alyssa Thomas and Caitlin Clark. But let me ask you something first. Have you ever seen a superstar receive the kind of attention Caitlin Clark has faced throughout her career? Because what Larry Bird saw during the Phoenix Mercury game completely changed his perspective on what Clark has been dealing with in the WNBA, and that's exactly why his comments have sparked so much discussion. Bird believes Caitlin Clark is experiencing something very familiar. Back in the 1980s, Bird was the best player in a league filled with incredible athletes. Opponents constantly tried to slow him down with physical defense because they couldn't match his extraordinary basketball IQ, but Bird also pointed out an important distinction, and that's where the conversation surrounding Alyssa Thomas becomes even more compelling. Bird understands the difference between tough, championship-level basketball and plays that cross the line. According to the story, he described the incident as the most cowardly act I've seen on a basketball court in decades. Those words immediately grabbed the attention of the entire basketball world.
Look at that. Boom. Look at her put her knee into Caitlin Clark's groin right there on that play, right? I mean, this is gross right there.
Larry Bird's reaction was immediate when he saw the video of Alyssa Thomas making contact with Caitlin Clark from behind after Clark had already been poked in the eye. Few people in basketball history understand true competitive intensity better than Larry Bird. He battled legendary enforcers like Dennis Rodman and Bill Laimbeer throughout his career, but even Bird believed this incident crossed the line of competitive basketball. Now, pay close attention to what Bird had to say about the timing of that shove. This is the moment many believe changed the conversation. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get back to the story. Bird highlighted a point that many fans had already been discussing, but few people with his level of credibility had publicly addressed. There's a clear difference between playing championship-level defense and taking unnecessary shots at a player who isn't looking or is in a vulnerable position. Bird emphasized that his era is widely regarded as one of the most physical periods in NBA history, but even then, if you had a problem with another player, you confronted them face-to-face. You didn't wait until their back was turned or they were unable to defend themselves. According to Bird, that's what made this situation so troubling. He also took issue with Alyssa Thomas's response after the incident. Instead of acknowledging the controversy or admitting she may have crossed the line, Thomas responded by saying, "Damned if I do, damned if I don't." Bird reportedly felt that truly great competitors take responsibility for their actions, especially when another player's safety could be affected. He argued that the greatest champions don't make excuses, they accept accountability. According to Bird's perspective, avoiding responsibility only adds to the controversy and shifts attention away from the game itself. For Bird, basketball has always been about competing through skill, preparation, and determination, not allowing the conversation to become centered on avoidable incidents. To put it another way, Bird's message was clear. In his view, players should rely on their basketball ability, not questionable tactics, to compete at the highest level. That's where Bird's analysis becomes especially fascinating because it reveals what he believes makes Caitlin Clark so unique. He sees many of the same rare qualities that helped define his own career. An elite basketball IQ, clutch shot making that seems almost impossible to explain, and perhaps most importantly, the ability to make everyone around her better. But as someone who has always valued the integrity of the game, Bird also sees something that genuinely concerns him. Instead of focusing solely on reaching her incredible potential, Clark often has to deal with intense physical play and constant attention from defenders. According to Bird's perspective, players should challenge Clark by matching her skill, preparation, and effort, not by relying on unnecessary physical tactics. He believes basketball should always reward talent, discipline, and execution. That's one reason his comments have generated so much discussion throughout the basketball world. Bird even compared Clark's situation to some of the physical treatment he experienced during his own NBA career. but he was quick to point out one major difference. At just 22 years old, Clark is already carrying enormous expectations while serving as the face of women's basketball. That's a tremendous amount of pressure for any young athlete. Bird also expressed concern about the message the league sends if controversial plays involving its biggest stars go unaddressed. In his view, allowing those situations to pass without consequences could create the wrong example for future players. He believes young athletes should learn that success comes from skill, preparation, hard work, and sportsmanship, not from crossing the line of fair competition. Perhaps the most powerful part of Bird's comments, however, focused on Clark's future. He believes adversity has a way of strengthening great players. Every challenge, every setback, every attempt to slow her down. According to Bird, those experiences will only make Clark more determined to prove herself through exceptional basketball. He compared her situation to his own rookie season, when veteran players constantly tested him physically to see whether he could handle the pressure. Bird believes those experiences helped shape his career, and he sees Clark responding to adversity with that same competitive mindset. Bird pointed out that the biggest difference is that Clark is dealing with all of this while carrying the unprecedented media attention and expectations that come with being the most recognizable player in WNBA history. That's exactly why Bird's support for Clark matters so much. He's not simply defending a talented athlete, he's defending what he believes basketball should represent. According to Bird, Caitlin Clark embodies the qualities that define the game at its best: elite talent, exceptional court vision, competitiveness, and a relentless desire to improve. At the same time, he believes the league must ensure that competition remains fair and respectful. Bird made it clear that the WNBA is at a pivotal moment. In his view, the league has a choice. It can continue promoting its biggest stars while maintaining a competitive environment that values skill, sportsmanship, and accountability, or it risks allowing unnecessary controversies to overshadow the basketball itself. Bird's message was simple: the decisions the league makes today will shape its future. That raises the question many fans are asking: will the WNBA respond to concerns about protecting its star players, or will debates over physical play continue to dominate the conversation? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you agree with Bird's perspective, or do you think the criticism has gone too far? More importantly, what do you think the WNBA should do moving forward? Share your opinion below. We read every comment. If you enjoy basketball analysis like this, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a future video. As this story continues to unfold, one thing has become impossible to ignore: the conversation is no longer just about one game, one hard foul, or one controversial moment. It's about the future of women's basketball, the standards the league wants to uphold, and how its biggest stars are treated under the brightest spotlight. Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA carrying expectations that very few athletes have ever faced. Every game she plays is watched by millions. Every decision she makes is analyzed. Every great performance becomes headline news, and every difficult moment sparks national debate. That's the reality of being one of the biggest names in basketball today. At the same time, veteran players across the league continue to compete with pride, experience, and intensity every single night. The challenge for the WNBA is finding the right balance. Fans want fierce competition, they want rivalries, they want physical basketball, but they also expect fairness, respect, consistency, and player safety. Bird's comments have generated so much discussion because they come from someone who understands exactly what it means to compete under pressure. Throughout his Hall of Fame career, Bird battled some of the toughest defenders and most physical opponents the game has ever seen. That experience is why so many basketball fans continue to value his perspective whenever he speaks about the sport. But Bird's message wasn't simply about toughness. It was about protecting the integrity of basketball and making sure that skill, not controversy, remains the focus of the game. Whether you completely agree with Bird's perspective or believe the situation has been overstated, there's no denying that his comments have sparked a major conversation. Fans, analysts, former players, and media personalities continue to debate what should happen when the league's biggest stars become the focus of increasingly physical play. Should officials call the game more tightly? Should the league hand out tougher penalties? Or is this simply part of professional basketball? Everyone seems to have a different opinion. What can't be questioned, however, is Caitlin Clark's response. Rather than allowing criticism, physical defense, or controversy to define her career, Clark has continued to focus on basketball. She keeps showing up, she keeps competing, and she continues proving why so many people believe she's the future of the sport. That resilience is one of the biggest reasons fans continue to support her. The WNBA is experiencing unprecedented attention, television ratings continue to rise, arenas are selling out, social media conversations grow larger every day, and millions of new fans are discovering women's basketball for the first time. Moments like these don't just affect one player or one team, they shape how the entire league is viewed around the world. As the season continues, every game will carry even greater significance, every Caitlin Clark matchup will be watched closely, every controversial play will be analyzed, every officiating decision will be debated, and every performance will help shape the story of one of the most talked about seasons in WNBA history. Now the biggest question belongs to you. Do you believe Larry Bird's comments accurately reflect what's happening in the league? Do you think the WNBA is doing enough to protect its biggest stars while still allowing physical, competitive basketball? And how do you think this entire situation will affect Caitlin Clark, Alyssa Thomas, and the league moving forward? Share your thoughts in the comments below because we genuinely want to hear what basketball fans from around the world think. Respectful discussion is what makes this community great, and your opinion could be featured in a future video. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more in-depth basketball analysis, exclusive updates, and the biggest stories surrounding the WNBA, NBA legends, and Caitlin Clark, be sure to hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and never miss another upload. Thank you for watching, thank you for your incredible support, and remember, basketball history is being written every single night. The next chapter could be even bigger than this one. When it happens, you'll hear about it right here. Leave your thoughts in the comments, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss a new video. We'll see you in the next one.